Hello there everyone, y'all already know what it is, back at it again with another one. On this segment, we will be diving straight into the latest town takeover, all thanks to our favorite mad scientist Caustic. I will show you clips from the dev stream where they go into detail about all the changes you can expect, but like always, hit the subscribe to stay updated on everything Apex. Here's the clip from the dev stream, enjoy.
Let's get into chaos theory. I think the first thing to get off and talk about I'm really excited about is this town takeover. We had Pathfinder before with Fight Night, and that was a lot of fun with the boxing ring, and now we got something brand new with Caustic. I think to kick things off, now we've been doing a series of teases, and this has been historically something we've always done in Apex with our storytelling. Bilal, I know you've been driving a lot of that for this, so why don't you guys just kind of talk about how this came together and what's the story you're telling leading up to Caustic and how that's going to play?
Yeah, so lately things have not been super easy for Caustic, especially with his relationship with Watson being strained. So there are sort of signs that we're trying to show that he's a person who doesn't have much to lose. So he's willing to embrace a darker side than what most people sort of expect of him, even though he's a pretty dark character at times. So this huge opportunity of the amount of toxin we've introduced in the first update with 8.0, he's sort of trying to piece that together and see what he can do with it and convince people to basically create his town takeover. The tease was an exciting part to work on. We wanted to try something new. Working on narrative stuff in a battle royale is always tricky, primarily because it's not a single player game. So it presents a lot of unique opportunities and challenges that we try to tackle. So what we did for the first time in a very long, like I think the first time in Apex, is we sort of took over the map intro screen. So the tease was sort of broken down in 4 phases. The first phase, we actually show a character on the map intro screen for the first time. So you see Caustic, which was super exciting for the team and was sort of the kickoff for our tease to show something is about to go down. One of the tenets of the tease is the VATs that you'll see in the town takeover itself, but we sort of brought them in before in each of the phases. And so as the phases change, the VATs sort of start from the crash ship location and breadcrumb players towards the actual location of the town takeover. One of the most exciting parts about it is anytime you see a VAT pre 8.1 launch, that means there's an audio log that Caustic's left behind close by. So it was a really cool tease to work on, working with Ed, Rand, and a bunch of narrative folks like Amanda who are not here. So it was a lot of fun to try and get people to pay attention.
I'm excited to have for these teases and the players out there because it's a character. I think the players he's intertwined with so many other characters in the world, and it's interesting to see like him get fleshed out more. I think he's one of those characters people really want to know more about, and we've already added a lot of mystery to him as well. As far as the town takeover itself, like what can players kind of expect when they're kind of exploring this space or fighting in it?
So the town takeover itself is, well, it's basically based around our toxic element, and our toxic element naturally kind of became our major gameplay hook in the space. There's a lot of challenges there with that because, that can be a slippery slope where you're overpowering something and people are not going to like that. Caustic is a pretty spicy character in general. You either love him or you hate him. If you play him, you love him. If you don't, you hate him. And we didn't really want that experience to be front and foremost in the town takeover. So we decided to put the ability to play with gas inside, but giving players the ability to turn it on and turn it off. That way it doesn't really feel like you're walking into space that's going to be completely overrun by caustics and have that feeling of caustic, which is, kind of the way that our other part of the map works with the bunker. You get into the bunker, if there's a caustic in there, you know what you're in for. You know what to expect in that experience. We kind of didn't want to replicate that going into the caustic TT because that's something that people have already experienced. So we wanted to bring something new to it and let everybody play with the gas and not just caustic this time around. It's been a lot of fun to work on it. We've seen a lot of crazy things happen inside of there. The other piece of the puzzle there is, Caustic is a scientist and we call him an evil scientist, but is he really? Maybe he's just more of a genius, right? And that's kind of like how we tried to play him up in here too, is that there's always something going on in the background. He's thinking about something. So what could he be doing with this gas? Well, maybe he's trying to learn something from it or maybe make it better for future use. So we also have this idea of being trapped in the space. And this also plays a very integral part to how you're going to move through it and fight in it and get the goodies in it. Well, we've taken that loot and we put it inside of these traps. And those traps are what's the most fun about this space because you want to get that stuff, but you also got to go through the the toxins to get to it. And that's also where the button comes into play. You press the button, the toxins go away for a limited amount of time, and it gives you a little bit of breather to go in there and collect the stuff that you really want. The gold hop-ups, the gold backpacks, the guns, the armor, all that good stuff is in there. So essentially, there's two major spots to land in the front and the back. Both kind of have an equal opportunity to go in there and press a button. So you've got two buttons, one on each side. And you kind of always need to be watching the teams from the opposite side, like who's going to get there first, who's going to press the button first. And there's this interplay there of like, do I want to press it, or am I going to wait and watch and see what happens? Am I going to be the guy hiding on the side and just jump up and get the loot when the time comes? Or am I going to be the one that gets trapped in the gas because I waited too long? And that's essentially kind of like what we've gone for with that space. Backing up a little bit to talk a bit about how we got there, there was a lot of iterations involved with that work. We started with it being this really glass-looking lab, something futuristic, very Apex looking, but didn't necessarily fit Caustic in that way. And then from there we went full tilt and went super dirty and factory looking, which kind of really felt like Caustic, but maybe went a bit too far in that direction. So in the end, we kind of settled on something that was in between. And I think everybody has really commented about how much they really feel like it fits Caustic, it fits the world. Coming back to where we've put this on the map. So Bilal kind of spilled it out already, where we've come down all the way down the river. We're at the south side of the map now. And the south just made sense for balancing out our update. In 8.0, we went really heavy on the north side with the crash ship and spotted lakes, and we needed a way to kind of balance that out. So we had played around with several locations around in the south there with where it could fit. And then ultimately we ended up at water treatment. So water treatment becomes caustic treatment now. And this is where the facility lives. And it really brings a lot of balance to the update, not only in terms of what we've updated on the map, but also with loot and the way that loot gets dispersed. The quality stuff is much higher there now in that area. In the end, you know, the toxins, caustic, the look, the whole package has really come together. And we think players are really going to like what we've done with the space.
Water treatment, I think, actually makes a whole lot of sense too for what he's doing. And that's a really cool space as well. That's survived so long on Apex. So yeah, it was about time for that area of the map to get played with here a little
Needed
bit.
a refresh.
And it was something that we, even when we were dropping the ship, we kind of were already talking about which legend we were going to tap into for the town takeover. And we felt that we had a story that could actually pay off. We could actually have some synergy between what happens at the beginning of the season and what we see in the middle of the season, which I don't know if we really have done much of that in the past. It's kind of like, hey, here's town takeover, and is a bit separated from the catalyst of the season. Whereas this time, I think we did a pretty good job of like breadcrumbing what's to come.
Yeah, it's something players I think have called out over time too. And even as we've grown, the sort of like how we're flexing storytelling, it's been great to see the team try new things every time. Even looking at, you know, from our OP shorts to the first town takeovers we did compared to the bigger ones we've done like Bloodhound and Pathfinder, and now with Caustic.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that like if you can't wait to check out the new water treatment. Let me know if this area will be OP. Until next time, this is One Time Play here, signing out. Peace.